Having an ideal follower is a key part of a successful Instagram growth strategy. What is an ideal follower, you might ask? It's the kind of follower that you would love to have following you, the kind of person that you can truly serve and help with your content, and who might even want to hire you or buy your products. If you don't have an ideal follower in mind, then you're never going to be able to build and execute the kind of Instagram content strategy that is really going to help you grow. So by the end of this video, I am going to help you figure out exactly who your ideal follower is so that you can implement all of the rest of my content strategy tips and truly start growing on Instagram. So let's get started. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Steckly, and here on YouTube, I love to share all my best tips and advice about social media marketing and creative entrepreneurship. By the way, to get the most out of this video, I created a worksheet for you. You can go over to katiesteckly.com/idealfollower to download it right now. I really recommend you do this because you can follow along with the rest of my tips and strategy throughout this video and fill in your worksheet, and that's going to give you the best results and clarity on who your ideal follower is. So head over to katiesteckly.com/idealfollower. I'll wait, don't worry. Once you have your worksheet, then let's keep on going. The very first step to defining your ideal follower is figuring out what your niche is. And I know it's one of the most difficult steps in the entire branding and business building process because you really have to get some clarity on who you are and what you want to do. I actually have a whole video about defining your niche for YouTube, but the same steps apply to Instagram, so you can check that out up here. I'll also link it at the end. But overall, what you need to figure out is what is the intersection between what you love to do and what you're really good at, what you're an expert in. Now, I know you might be feeling like, I'm not an expert in anything, but trust me, all of us have something that we can teach, something that we can share to inspire others, or a way that we can entertain. And try to be really honest with yourself about this. Like, I'll just tell you, there's lots of things I really love to do and I'm passionate about, but I'm not making videos about them for the internet because I'm not really that good at them. For instance, I love to sing, I like to play guitar. I'm not really good at either of those things, so I'm not making videos about music. At the same time, you need to make sure that there's the question of profitability in there. So not only what do you love and what are you good at, but what are people willing to pay for? And that's something that you really need to be cutthroat and harsh with yourself about, even though it's hard, because you don't want to waste your time going down a rabbit hole where at the end of the day, if you really are honest with yourself, you know that there is no money or business there for you. A good example of this is I love to play roller derby. To be honest, I think I'm pretty good at it for my local recreational league, but I don't really see how I could turn my roller derby playing into a business because worldwide there are literally 0 full-time professional roller derby players. So maybe that's not what I'm going to make my career or vocation. Instead, I'm going to keep it as a hobby, just like my guitar playing and music. These are the kind of questions that you need to ask yourself and be really, really realistic about, and know that at the end of the day, for this niche to be a true business for you, it needs to check all 3 boxes of you love to do it, you're really good at it, and people are willing to pay for it. For me, I love making videos. I love giving advice about social media content strategy. I am pretty good at it, I would say, and there are people who are looking for that advice, looking for that service, and so they are willing to pay for it. So for me, all 3 of those boxes get checked, and that is my niche. Once you have your niche, for me, for instance, providing tips and advice about social media marketing, creative entrepreneurship, then you need to figure out the second part, which is who are you going to serve? Thinking about this in a really general sense is our first step towards defining our ideal follower. For me, when I ask myself this question, I know that I can help creators and creative entrepreneurs. I can help social media managers and other people that are in this industry by giving advice on strategy, sharing my ideas, sharing my own experiments of what has worked well and what hasn't. Those are the kind of people that might be interested in social media advice. Meanwhile, my audience is definitely not going to be people who really just use Instagram for fun and don't really care about growing and probably don't have any kind of business venture. That's not who my videos are for, and I know it, and that's totally fine. Part of this process of figuring out who you want to serve is letting go of the idea that you can be everything to everyone. If you try to do that, you're going to be nothing to nobody. but really nothing to everyone because that's a double negative, but you know what I mean. You need to stop being afraid of not serving anybody who might happen across your page and just decide that I am making content for these particular people. I am talking to the creative entrepreneurs, the creators, the business owners, the social media managers, people who know that social media is an industry and they want to lean into the analytics and the creativity and the authenticity of sharing and build an audience that they can turn into a business. That's who I'm talking to in a very broad sense. So figure out between what you love, what you're an expert in, what you can get paid to do. Who do you want to give that service to? Who do you think is going to get the most value out of it? I could be trying to target people who just want to grow on Instagram because they want to feel more popular, but that's not who I really think I can serve most, because I don't think those people should be pursuing that venture. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's a good mindset. So I don't want to serve those people. I want to serve people who are trying to build a business online. So figure out who can benefit from whatever value you're providing most, and that is going to be the beginnings of your audience and your demographic. All right, number 3, the next step is to start getting specific about who that audience is. We've kind of defined a general idea of who we want to serve. Let's talk demographics. How old are they? Where are they from? What kind of job do they do? What is their life like? Start brainstorming who this person is, and that is going to help you connect with them better. So before we get into super details, let's just talk about it. What's their age? For me, it's probably somebody between the ages of like 18 and 40 generally. Probably a lot of you are in your mid to late 20s or early 30s. That is what I'd assume because that's sort of my age group, and that's who I connect with most. But that doesn't mean that people outside of that age group can't follow along and watch my videos. That's totally fine. That's just not who I am immediately trying to target. Maybe you want to think about what gender they might be. I think a lot of the people that I speak to are women. I know that from my demographic reports on YouTube and Instagram. That doesn't mean people of other genders can't also enjoy my videos, but I know that I relate most to women, and that's kind of who I'm making my videos for. Location might be a question for you, especially if you are a person-to-person service or a brick-and-mortar business. Then maybe it's going to be limited to your city or your region or whatever. So that's going to be an important question for you. For me, my audience is completely global, and I really love it for that. I get messages from people all over the world, and because I love to travel, I like to try to keep it that way. Though for me, I am limited, of course, to English speakers because that is the language my content is in. So you might have a more specific location than me, but that's kind of what it looks like for me. Really depends on the kind of content you're making and also the kind of services that you offer. For example, even if you're fully online and your business is mostly consultations, like say you're doing actual Zoom calls with people, then your location might be limited by who is able to book time with you in your time zone, right? Even though the internet is so global, we are still all awake at different times, and so that might even have an impact on the locations that you're targeting. Number 4, let's define the personality of your ideal follower. Now you know their general demographics, let's really dive in to who they might be as a person. At this stage, I love to give my ideal follower a name, so maybe you have something in mind. This helps you to imagine them as a real person, so when you're crafting your content, you can be writing directly to her. I say her because to me it's a woman, but who knows what the pronouns of your ideal follower are. I'm not going to define that for you, but whoever you're talking to, give them a name so then you can kind of imagine that in a little bit more of a clear way. So you might start asking yourself, what are their hobbies? What do they like to do on the weekends? What are they spending their free time doing? How do they use the internet? Are they a really casual scroller? Are they an active participant? Do they watch YouTube? Do they listen to podcasts? What are their favorite TV shows? Do they like dogs? Is their favorite food mac and cheese? Who knows? There's a million questions you could ask because people are so complex. And the point of this exercise is not necessarily to come up with like an overly complex character that you have to make sure every single one of your followers is just like them. That's not the point. You want to imagine who this person is that you might be talking to, because it's going to allow you to take your content from this general shout into the void into something that is super directed and feels really personal to whoever is reading it, whether or not they are a dog person or like mac and cheese. So take this time to write down some ideas of what you think your ideal follower likes to do with their free time, their hobbies, other details about their life and personality, and then we're gonna move on to number 5. And number 5 is, what are your ideal followers' patterns online? So this video is kind of about Instagram. You probably are focusing on growing your Instagram audience, so I'm guessing that your ideal follower is likely going to be an Instagram person. However, this process that I just walked you through can also be repeated for YouTube, LinkedIn, podcasting, any other platform that you want to pursue. You can figure out who your ideal follower is going to be for that medium. And of course, this is going to vary. Do they spend a lot of time on Instagram or YouTube? Like I said before, are they a passive scroller? Are they a really engaged participant? Are they the kind of person that loves a Facebook group, or would they rather just talk to you in your DMs? This is where I want you to take some time to think about what are their patterns online. Even within Instagram, you can think about what time are they most likely online. Is your ideal follower a 9-to-5er, or are they somebody who has more flexibility in their schedule? That might determine when you choose to post to your feed or to your stories. You might ask yourself, is your ideal follower the kind of person that really wants to engage with stickers on their Instagram stories of people they follow, or would they rather have a one-on-one conversation in the DMs? That might change your strategy for how you seek out engagement in your followers. You also want to think about what kind of content and what other people your ideal follower likes to follow, because that can give you some content inspiration. Does your ideal follower love to share quotes to her Instagram story? Does she love to comment on photos that include an intimate and authentic caption? Or does she love to tap through memes that are super funny and she might end up saving to her collections? There's all kinds of different usage patterns when it comes to Instagram based on people's different personalities. Maybe just as I was listing those things, you found yourself feeling like that's me, or that's what I love to do. Figure out what the answer to that is for your ideal follower. Of course, there might be lots of different ways they choose to engage on Instagram, but if you can figure out what are her favorite ways to engage on Instagram, then you can really target your content to cater to that. Now, none of this stuff is scientific. It's not like you're trying to figure out already of your existing audience what are people's patterns. You can do that by looking at your Instagram insights, which if you want a walkthrough of how to do that, you can check out this video that I made all about it. But this video is not about figuring out who you already have as an audience. This video is about figuring out who your ideal audience is. So it might not be the people who are following you already. And don't be afraid to change things up in order to target that ideal audience, especially if right now you're in a transition from being a personal account into being like trying to become an influencer or trying to start your business account. We can stress out a lot about what are the current patterns and insights we're seeing from our audience, but if your current audience isn't the kind of people that are going to buy from you or hire you or engage with your content so that you can monetize that content, then that's not the audience that you need to be creating for. So right now, if you look at your insights and see that your audience is mostly active from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., but you're thinking, actually, the people that I really want to target are 9-to-5ers who are doing a side hustle on the evenings and weekends, then maybe the time that you want to post is actually like noon on their lunch break, or like 6 or 7 p.m. when they just get home from work. Now, that might not be the most active times of your current audience, but if you start posting at those times, then you're going to be able to start attracting more of the people that you actually want to be creating content for. This is a perfect example of why I'm always saying create for the audience you want, not the audience you have, especially if you're in a position where you're going from having an audience of like friends and family types to trying to actually generate an audience of potential clients or customers. Now that you've figured out who your ideal follower is and you are going to start generating a crowd of people who are super excited and engaged with what you're doing, it's time for you to get confident on Instagram Live, because Instagram Live is one of the primary ways that you can make a very personal connection with your audience. So check out this video that I made about my best tips for being confident on Instagram Live, so you'll never be scared to press that go live button again. But before you head over there, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye!